In conversation with AJ McMullen. AJ McMullen isn't your average author. A veteran of the United States Army, extruded his combat boot for writer's pen, crafting fantastically words in the realm of science fiction and fantasy. But his creative spark goes beyond the written word. For 15 years, AJ poured expansion into building his own comic book universe, a testament to his inner nerd and his love for all things fantastical. When he is not writing or creating, AJ enjoys the simple joy of life. He's a devoted husband and father, finding balance amid the thrill of riding his motorcycle and the satisfaction of motivating others as a motivational speaker. Currently, you can find him behind the counter at a powersports dealership, his passion for storytelling weaving its way into every customer interaction. AJ McMullen is a man of many talents, and his unique blend of experience makes him a captivating author and a truly inspiring individual. And on today's episode of our interview, it's my utmost pleasure and joy to have on the show today AJ McMullen. How are you doing, AJ?
Doing great, Peter. Thank you for having me on P English Literature. I love the show. Listened to a few episodes, and I'm honored to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm also excited to have you on the show today. Quite exciting. We're going to be having a conversation around your writing, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, AJ, as we look into the books you've written and the story that you've created, there are hints that there is something bigger at play. There's also a logo in your books that read Atia Universe. Could you explain what that is? Would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the Aether universe is a universe that I created that it consists of about 300 almost 400 characters now, with the additions of the new book that I just written, and the next book that comes after this one, added about 50 more characters to that roster. So pretty much what the Aether universe is a comic book universe that's written in novels.
Oh.
I decided to name it the Aether universe because there's a lot of elements inside my universe that is centered around humans or humanity discovering powers that were left by
Mm.
gods and goddesses from the times of old. So it brings that flair of like Greek mythology or African lore and things like that to modern day times.
Wow, I love the sound of that, really. Sounds quite captivating, quite lovely to know. So thank you for explaining
Thank you.
about that. Very lovely to know. And now, could you tell us what inspired you to write the Akanine Calamity book series, starting from the Gem State Siege? What inspired the making of this book? Plus, what sort of themes should we expect in this book? And I think I have two questions in there already, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so the Arcana Calamity series actually it was actually not supposed to exist at all.
Oh.
So so pretty much I had this we discussed it earlier. I've been writing for about 15 years now, and I started writing this one book, but the vision that I had for it was futuristic. The world had ended
Mm.
once or twice over, so humanity was building itself back up, and there was some things happening that I was like, I can't imagine myself throwing readers into this world without explaining exactly what happened. So
Mm.
what I pretty much did, I went back about 100, 200 years
Wow.
to pretty much present day time of life right now, and I started writing a book, and I said this one is going to be my permafree to get people involved in the story.
Wow.
And after I sat down and started writing that permafree, well, that permafree turned into a 10 book series, and I was like, okay, this isn't going the way I thought it was going to go. So I I decided to give it a name, give it a face, and I never imagined that that particular series would be my main series. So
Wow.
which that also inspired the Aether universe as well, because it expanded the entire thing a little bit more, added a lot of content, a lot more lore, helped me
Oh, wow.
understand exactly where the story was coming from, and now I have a better vision of where I'm going.
Wow.
So things uh, that people should inspect or expect in the Arcane and Calamity series is a lot of societal collapse is the word
Mm,
I'm going to look for, and it's going to be wrapped in a lot of thriller-esque, mystery-based kind of situations where there are things going on behind the scenes, things that you would never expect happen in real life, but also
mm,
things that, even though it's sci-fi, it's things that you kind of look at and question, like, could that actually happen, or
wow.
is things like this actually happening behind the scenes that we really don't know about? So I just wanted
Wow.
that the conspiracy theory in everybody to question things when you read the eighth or read the Arcane and Calamity series.
Wow. That's quite amazing to know, really. I love your description of this particular series. Sounds
Thank you.
quite, compelling to me. Thank you. Now let's go into your characterization. You've said how many characters are a part of this universe. Obviously, you can't
Mm-hmm.
possibly have all of them in one book. Now, I'd like to ask you, what is your plan for the long list of characters that you've compiled so far?
Oh yeah. um so in addition to the amount of characters that have been compiled so far, what I did was I wrote out a brief synopsis of the timeline, because like I said, I've been doing this for 15 years, so it
Oh,
allowed me to create a lot of things behind the scenes, a lot of things that haven't necessarily been released yet.
yeah.
So with the I pretty much projected the things that all of these characters are doing, some of the situations that are going to happen. So I'm pretty much seeing this like a movie in my head that I just had
Wow.
to transcribe and write down on paper. So what that has allowed me to do is write out a list of stories that need to be told. And right now we have about I think 98 is the accurate number
Wow.
of stories that need to be told right now, and
Wow.
those are just the novels alone.
Wow. That's amazing. And that's a lot, really.
It is.
That's a lot. That's a lot. I love the sound of that. And now, AJ, in your new book, Legacy of the Arcanine Flame, you've rampaged the original story about to re-release it. Well, there is a decoded language involved. How much will we see that throughout the series? Would you like to talk about that?
So, Legacy of the Arcane and Flame was is obviously the first book of my series, the Arcane and Calamity series. It's going to be the revamped version of the Gem State Siege, and
Mm,
I wanted to. Well, one of the biggest reasons as to why I wanted to do an overhaul of the series was to incorporate the Arcanan language. The
oh,
Arcanans was a old group of citizens. They were pretty much the first civilization in history that worked alongside the gods that created the universe in the Aether
mm,
universe, and their language is pretty much what this decoded language was. And I wanted to do like this thing where there was this society that knew all, and they kind of saw the path that humanity was taking.
mm.
And I didn't want to necessarily do that in English because it just didn't. I didn't think it would be that cool. So
Oh,
I just sat down one day and started doodling some stuff and ended up with 26 letters that
wow,
look absolutely nothing like any language that's alive today. So we kind of took a
wow,
little derivative from old Latin, um, and just kind of created something myself and created a font for it. And
that's
I put
interesting.
it in and wrote a prophecy of the fall of humanity
Mm,
and the characters in the book are trying to decipher what that means. And
Wow.
if you look at the cover of the Arcane Legacy of the Arcane and Flame, you can actually see the actual prophecy that is being told by the ancient arcanans on the cover of the book.
Hmm. Wow, I love your take on this actually, and I love the sound of your book, and I can go on and on with it. It sounds
Mhm.
quite captivating and quite lovely to
Thank
me.
you.
So thank you so much for sharing all of this, really. And now let's go into how you came about your inspirations and ideas, which has been one of the surprising facts to me among being a writer and particularly a novelist like yourself. I've always been surprised about how writers come together, bring words together, and pull, words to make paragraphs, to make, pages, to make
Mm-hmm.
chapters, and eventually an interesting, huge lovely novel. This always leave me about how exactly did they get their inspiration and ideas? Where did these words come from? How did they sit down and put all of these words together? It's an amazing journey to me. And I'd like
Yeah.
to ask you, as far as writing is concerned, how do
Uh-huh.
you get your inspirations and ideas? Where did they come from?
Well, Pete, I like to say that art imitates life. Um, as a kid, like when I first, well, I'm not going to say as a kid, like coming into adulthood,
Mm.
I was a huge conspiracy
Oh,
theorist, and I love talking about conspiracies a lot. So
wow,
um, I jumped at the opportunity to write about something that could potentially happen that we all know may or may not actually be happening. So just
wow,
kind of take the fear that comes with comes with the conspiracies and try to make
wow,
something creative of it instead of destructive with it.
wow. Of your take on that, actually, that's quite lovely to know. Thank you for mentioning. Thank you. Now, apart from the Akanai Calamity series, do you have any other works you've authored or say currently working on?
I do. So that permafree that I never released is actually coming out. Once I'm finished with publishing the Legacy of the Arcane and Flame, I will be
Yeah.
releasing another book that goes along with the Legacy of the Arcane and Flame. That
Oh,
kind of something that is a spinoff, but happens in the background of what's going on outside the main characters of the series. I'll be releasing that soon. Hopefully planning to get that written and released by August. After the Legacy of the Arcane and Flame is released in July. But
wow.
that's a little bit of a stretch for, but we're working on that over on our side.
Wow.
I have a because of my YouTube channel, the Iron Titans, where I do moto vlogs on my motorcycle. I
Wow.
That channel was actually named after a few characters in the Aether universe called the Iron Titan. So I will be working on something pertaining to that as well.
Oh,
And that at the moment, that's all I'm willing to divulge.
wow. Wow, I love your take on that actually, and thank you so much for a lovely answer to that. That's amazing. You working on such a great stuff. You got quite a lot ongoing, really. Beautiful
Yeah,
works
it's a
in
lot.
in process. Well done, I'd say.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, AJ, could you tell us what publishing is like for a published author like yourself? Are there any challenges you've encountered in the process of writing this book and also ever since it got published?
Yeah.
That's a
Wow.
funny
That's
question to answer,
Yeah,
right?
that's a very loaded question. So I don't know what it's like being a published author, but being a self-published author is a
Mm,
little bit of a challenge. I didn't think it would be this much work, honestly, putting together your own publishing company, pretty much having to put your own work out and doing all of the marketing yourself and having to reach out to people and pretty much touch a cold market to try to get a book sold. I didn't think it would be that complicated, but
Mm,
it's rewarding to be able to have the rights to everything that you do. I know I do have some friends who have traditionally published, and they say that it was the worst thing that they could have ever done for their stories. But
oh,
you know,
yeah.
I can't say one way or another for that one. That's a that's somebody else's conversation. But it has been rewarding in a way that I've been able to keep the control of everything that I'm doing. I
Yeah.
probably wouldn't have the Aether Universe if I was published with a big publishing company. They probably wouldn't let me work ahead like that. But um
Mm.
yeah, it's been rough, honestly. But rewarding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love your take actually, because I know that, writing a book, it's fine. Publishing it also is fine, but the marketing
Mm-hmm.
aspect likes the huge work. And that's why the sources of a book likes in. Most of the books we get to know about today are books that so many things have been involved in the marketing, so many things
Mm-hmm.
have been done in terms of pushing it out there. While we have some very good books or in silence, languishing in silence because
Yeah.
nobody know about them, and they're actually very interesting and great book, but there's no mean for, publicity. There's no mean for it getting its name out there. And that's one of the
Yeah.
reasons why I think most self-published authors have those issues with, promotion, marketing, getting our works out there to the right audience, to
Yeah.
the right platform, etc. Yeah, so that's quite lovely to know, really.
Yeah, a little rough being the author, the publisher, the marketer, and all these other things. You got to put on a lot of hats for it. So
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Now, AJ, is there anything that you'd love to share with the viewers about your books that we did not mention in this interview and you'd love the viewers to know?
it will be interesting to know that, like, if you are a huge fan of mythology, that the Aether universe is pretty much tied with that with a lot of lore of mythology, like Greek mythology, African lore,
Mm,
Norse mythology, things like that, mixed with a little bit of like the conspiracy aspect. And if
yeah.
you love thriller books, that's pretty much my take. So fantasy and thriller are
Wow.
the two avenues that I'm taking up. So uh pretty much uh mythology mixed with modern day times and a little bit of apocalyptic themes in there. So
Wow.
those things are going to be some of the prominent factors, and I think that readers will love it. If you are a fan of, say, Marvel or DC comics or things like that, and just want to read a novel with some kind of superhero elements mixed with fantasy, then these are the books for you.
Wow. That's amazing. And I love these teams actually. I love these
Excellent.
teams. They're the one that I love reading particularly,
Oh, that's
myself. I
perfect.
love the sound of it. Thank you. Thank you. And now, as a published author, what sort of advice do you have for other writers who are still struggling with writing and publishing a book? What would you advise people in this category?
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I definitely have some advice there. I would say get out of your own way, in a way of saying, not telling yourself that you can't do it. I believe that I'm a strong believer that if you have something, an idea in your head, then
Yeah.
it is possible to put it out there. Nobody is going to put that idea forward but you. You have to be the one to complete it. So just keep
Mm,
your head down, stop listening to the outside noise.
absolutely.
Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it. Get just get the job done and put it
Mm.
out there. That's it. And if it's there to be learned, then you can learn to do it and make it happen.
Absolutely. I love the sound of that. Thank you so much for your advice. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
hoping that viewers, including myself, would love to utilize it. So, AJ, in case we have some viewers who are currently watching this interview, I would love to get a copy of your book. On what platform is it available on for purchase?
So at the moment, the book is in pre-order, so you can go to my website and at ajmcmullen.com, and there is a pre-order link on the website, as well as there will be something on Amazon by the time this podcast or this interview airs. So yeah, so on Amazon and on my website, you can pre-order the Legacy of the Arcade and Flame.
That's great. And I left a link in the discussion part of this interview where interested viewers can get a copy of AJ McMullen book directly on Amazon and also via his website. So thank you so much, AJ, for accepting the invitation to be featured on P English Literature. It's awesome, having this conversation around your writing, really.
Thank you. It's been an honor. I'm honored to be on. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. The pleasure is mine too.